Monsters do have their place. In the zoo, in your nightmares, in the deep, in your favorite horror movies. But not in your living room, on your TV. Don't let pay TV be the monster in your living room. Pay TV and cable TV companies are seeking the right to charge you for the very programs you now get free. If you want to stop pay TV and save free television, sign the petition in the lobby of this theater. Let your lawmakers know how you feel in the fight against pay TV and cable TV.
Welcome to another episode of the Custom Underground Podcast. I am the real chosen one. This is the Mad Reaper. We are on episode 14 already. Amazing. Showstopper wanted to be here. Schedules didn't work out, but we will have him on very, very soon. He is the most requested guest that we have. So with that, I just want to say great job by everyone. Both the judges and fans seem to think this vote was super close. Proud of everyone. Thank you very much for giving your all. Thank you for being part of this contest. We will see tonight who goes on to face the NWF.
Yes.
And we want to give a shout out to our producer, Nick Manoa and Nick Manoa Figs on Instagram.
Absolutely.
With that being said,
Absolutely.
I am wearing the Radiant Rain shirt today.
Oh, very nice.
Her return to Ring of Honor. You can see some nice work here done by the Mad Reaper. Also, you can see the thicker stomach there. This is the Mil Mortis. Very well done. Look at those side details. Amazing figure, amazing guy, amazing customizer.
Thank
and
you.
He says if you want an Aleister Black, it'll be $500.
Yeah, I'm not doing any more Aleister Blacks, that's for sure. Yeah, we're really excited. This is our semi-final finalist.
That has his price.
Yeah, he's been going pretty good. I should here. Let me grab him real quick. I'm gonna do a sneak peek.
Sneak peek here for you, the fans of our podcast. Here it is, the sneak peek. Aleister Black. Wow. That's some amazing detail.
Every single painstaking tattoo.
Oh, I love that back.
Yeah, it's been probably the most easily the most tattooed figure I've made.
If I would have known you were going to show off your Aleister Black, I would have gone back out my Velveteen Dream. That Showstopper. That figure is amazing too. But that is amazing. So many tattoos, so much detail, and you seem to have captured it all.
Yeah, I'm almost done with him. I used the same kind of hybrid that I did on your Mills tattoo. I think it's tough to tell where the decals start and where they end on these figures. So
I really think that's the future.
Yeah,
to be able to use decals properly, but to also be able to add your own little touch to it and fix things up. And I think this whole decal versus no decal thing is completely wrong. Hybrid's the way to go. Be in the middle. Come join us. It's a movement. We're starting it right now. Right? Join us.
Doing this figure, I was like, there's a time for both. There's it's like a tool, you know what I mean? Like if you're gonna either jack a car up with the hydraulic stand, or you're going to go put it on the lift. So I think they're just another tools in our toolbox. That being said,
have enough tools in the toolbox.
Our customizers pulled out some very unique tools for this semi-finalist matchup.
They really did.
These winners will take home the Reaper Cup, each of them, in their divisions. Look at that thing with all its beauty.
Glow in the dark.
Season 1.
Logo.
Season 1, this is who gets the trophies. So
Super Cup, amateur customizer, professional customizer, season 1 champion. That's the inscription. As you can see, this is the
very
amateur one.
beautiful. So either Lonely Bone Dust or Elite will be getting that exact trophy. So without further ado, let's get on with it. Let's see here. I got Rocket Brony's scorecards, but I think first and foremost, maybe what we'll do is, should we show the figures first? Like give
Yes.
a brief run
So we
through?
do the amateurs first, since they're the amateurs.
Yeah, let's do the amateurs first.
So we have Elite, who did China, and we have Lonely Bone Dust, who did Mortis.
So we are going to go through with China here.
Yeah, there you go.
And so that is Elite's China, and that is the actual matchup photo. We'll go ahead and go through. We'll show the pictures first, and then we'll talk about them, and then that way you guys kind of see where we're going with this matchup right away. China, like sculpted body right there, sculpted breasts, very nice figure. That's Elite's. This is we'll go over to Mortis, and this is Lonely Bone Dust's entry. You can see the hair strands there. I really thought that was cool. Back design. He also had the cape and staff, which he didn't get to finish the staff, and then the shoulder pads. So
Those shoulder pads are very nice.
Absolutely. And then here is Viscera, Big Daddy V.
Look at those tattoos, man.
Yeah, those tattoos were great. He had a lot of skin, that guy.
I like how he sculpted. We'll talk more about this, but he sculpted the rolls. I mean, that's what you have to call them, rolls.
Yeah.
And kind of hung over the pants like it did in real life. That was really nicely done. Look at the detail in that robe, that hat.
Absolutely, yeah. Here is Rocket Jabroni's Owen Hart, King of the Ring.
I'm really impressed by everyone in this round. I think everyone brought it. Everyone tried something different. Yeah. Whether that resonates with the fans or not, we'll see soon. But everyone took some gambles and really brought their A game, and I'm really impressed by them. We thank them for coming to the finals. Congratulations on making this far. Unfortunately, there can only be 2 that advance and only 1 in the end.
Absolutely. So without further ado, let's go on to the judges' scorecards, and we are going to do XIV first and foremost. Here we go. We got Showstopper here. Overall presentation, he gave a 8. Painting skills, he gave an 8. Likeness originality, an 8. Complexity, 7. And workmanship, an 8. For a total of 39, which is, I think, a very good score.
Showstopper.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very high
score.
Especially
painting skills at an 8. He's the painting master, so if you're getting painting scores of 8 from him, that is high praise, and as well as everything else.
And he really was. And then let's go with mine over here. Let's see. Elite. I had a 9 for the overall presentation, 8 for painting skills. Likeness originality at 8. Complexity and workmanship both at 9s. And some of my reasoning why here was at first, and I told Pat this right away, I wasn't too hot on the figure, and I really wasn't too hot on the head choice. There's a couple head choices this round that I wasn't too hot at first glance. After really soaking it in, the body, the head, it really does, I think, do China justice. It's not like
really
looking
quick,
at different
the
areas.
The problem with the China head, in my opinion, and not this head in particular, but in general, is that she has some very masculine parts, but some not masculine parts at the same time on her face. So it's really hard to strike that perfect balance, I think.
Yeah, and my problem is absolutely not only what you said, but she also had surgery during her career, which made her go from really a rounded masculine jaw to a more feminine, softer jaw. So it was really crazy to see the transformation of her, but then also this figure going with the DX era, kind of the pre-surgery jaw. Painting skills, I think Elite really stepped it up this time. The rips in the pants, everything. Like my painting skills, I was really critical about Spike Dudley. he really came back and gave up a good fight. Likeness, originality, I also gave it 8. Likeness was a little tough since I had an issue with the nose, but the originality was there. You know, using an IRS head was a very very
Some
unique
very
idea.
bold choices in this round, and that was
Bold.
one of.
Yeah, bold is the word I'm looking for. Complexity 9 for the fact that he did have to sculpt a more feminine figure on top of a bigger frame. So, you know, the breasts, everything. I wish the breasts
I
were a
called
little
them
more.
additions in my notes.
I wish the breasts were a little more well defined. I think that they seemed a little more like compressed.
Did you want April Hunters?
I mean, you know, like China
Yeah.
was in Playboy. We got reference. Workmanship.
I'm sorry, wife,
I don't
Mrs.
know.
Elite. I'm buying this for research only. I promise you.
I don't have it. I'm gonna have to borrow your copy. We got so complexity, workmanship for the same reason. So I gave him a 43 out of 50. Pat?
Pretty similar among all of us. I went with an 8 for. I should have sent you mine, but I went with an 8 for the overall presentation. 8 for the painting skills. 7 for the likeness originality because that head's just so tough. Like I say, she had some masculine parts, some not so masculine parts, so that's a little hard. I went with 7 for the complexity and 8 for the workmanship for a score of 39.
39. Very nice. Very nice. So let's go ahead.
Really quickly, I said the nice sculpting additions. Good job overall in the figure. It was a bold head choice. China had, like I said, parts that were masculine, others that weren't. So very well done. Everyone brought it this round. Good job, Elite. Let's go on to his opponent, Lonely Bone Dust.
Lonely Bone Dust. LBD, as Patrick has since called him, and has become his new name. And it's hard not to think Little Black Dress when I read that, but now it's Lonely Bone Dust. So, yeah, here we go with Mortis, who I was a big fan of. I'm actually working on a Chris Canyon myself, like WCW era. That actually is for the customizing for
I just want to say right now, forever and ever and ever and ever, Chris Canyon, the ultimate thing that I saw of his, triple cage. He took that dive off the cage, and he literally looked like he died.
Yeah,
I mean, I was really seriously worried for his health because I thought he had injured himself. That was the most amazing dive off of a cage, fall off of a cage. And if you have a chance to check that out, certainly we'll research and tell you when it was. But that was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I was really impressed.
99. Yeah, absolutely. I think this is such an underrated bump that, like, you know, Mick Foley's, which was certainly incredible during the Hell in the Cell. Like, this was over 3 of them because they had 3 of them based off of the Ready to Rumble movie that they were part of.
And he sold the whole falling.
Oh, yeah. Right into a stage, too. So, like, not only did he fall off, but the stage also caved in because that was where they were walking out on. Man, what a tremendous talent, and that was why customizing for a cause. I'm not gonna get off tangent here, but that is gonna be my first figure for the charity. I will be auctioning them off for charity, and it will be for suicide prevention because, as we all know, hopefully Chris Canyon had succumbed to suicide. So hopefully this figure comes out kick-ass. Gonna be a good figure.
Very sad that he could never come to terms with being gay, and that he was never really accepted. He came out. He had to go back in the closet, come out a couple times. It's really unfortunate, really sad. I think that hopefully in the future in wrestling business they can give the support that these people deserve. Being gay is just the way of life, and you shouldn't be criticized for that. That's hate.
Absolutely.
And also, he was set to make a comeback before his suicide, and he was going to be in the purple Mortis attire.
Oh, wow.
Wish we would have gotten to see that, but unfortunately we never did. So going on, we've gone off a little bit here, but customizing for a cause, if you're interested, please comment below.
Yes.
Please contact us on social media. We'd love to have you aboard. It's very important. There are so many great causes out there. So
Absolutely.
With that being said, score her out.
So, Lonely Bone Dust, Mortis, I gave a 9 overall presentation. The shoulder pads I really liked, cape I really liked. The hairs in front of the mask I really liked. Painting skills, 8. I think it was very solid. I had some issue with some of the line work, and really it came down to, I think a lot of sculpts could be made 10 times better with a little bit more of a texture tool or a texture stamp, and that's what one of the things I seen on the skulls on the shoulder pads. I know, I'm sure it was his last wrap up bit of it. Both him and Rocket Jabroni didn't quite finish their robes or accessories, but it was awesome to see them shoot for that. And so this was no knock on it, but this was just a representative. This is an example of it, right? I'm talking about the figure in general. A little bit more painting skills. I wish. I really like the dry brushing technique, and I think the skulls would have really popped with the base black, with the dry brush gray, and then even topped off with a highlight white. Before even any wash. So, little nitpicky there. Great figure. Likeness, 9. I thought the mask was perfect. The head was perfect. Body was perfect. Everything.
What's impressive is he's just learning to sculpt. So
Yeah,
if that's
absolutely.
the beginning, the future is the ceiling. I mean, and beyond.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And complexity was a 9. Workmanship, 9. Both of these were complexity. He picked a tough character. Mortis is tough. He's like a Laparka. He's got a cape. He's got a skull mask. It's right up there. Workmanship. The part selection I thought was spot on. It was very close to just like Elites, but I had to give it to Lonely Bone Dust. Even wanted to call him Little Bulldog there for some reason. 44 out of 50. LBD. 44 out of 50 from the Mad Reaper.
High praises. Let's go to Showstopper. I really want to know what he has to say about this.
So we got Lonely. Here we go. So he's got 9 for overall presentation, 8 for painting skill, 8
Apparently
for likeness originality, 8 for complexity, and 9 for workmanship. I do have notes actually from Showstopper here, which I will pull up.
I think that's very important for our young amateurs to get notes, and so they can improve and get better each time. So
I would say I forgot to talk about China. I'll mention his notes real quick. He said XIV, good effort. Parts used were good. Head of choice had lots of potential. Sculpt on chest and head was okay. Paint application was good overall except the face. Makeup color kind of went overboard and became a distraction to the whole look. And that was something I forgot to say, but I would second. The lipstick.
Blush.
The blush, absolutely. The blush was very bright, almost too much, and then the lipstick.
What happens when a guy tries to put makeup on a girl?
Absolutely. I mean, and then the lipstick was it was great. The color, I think Showstopper was like red, but for me, the color was fine, but it was the texture, no one has those perfect lips, you seek to those perfect lips. So making that as highlight feature, added to the fact that we didn't really see that close up of an image. That was it. For Lonely Bone Dust, Showstopper had said, nice overall presentation, good selection of parts used, sculpt of mask and accessories were good. Paint application could be better, especially the whites. That was my line work on the back too. Honestly, out of all his entries, this seems to be the least clean, which is something coming from Showstopper that you'll want to pay attention to should you advance. Lonely Bone Dust. This is something where I know ordering parts takes time, but you're going to want to jump on the production of a figure as soon as possible. And I know 3 weeks is tough. 3 weeks, it's hard for me to get accustomed to in 3 weeks. So hats off to all you guys throughout the entire tournament. Amazing. Pat?
What about white? Did you specifically, what was the problem with white?
Let's go see the picture.
I just wanted him to get all the notes that he can. And
so the front of the singlet was really well done. That white was really nice. When it came to the back, I took issue with this area right here. And I'm not sure, I can't really zoom in, but if you look at it,
they're just not as clean as some of the other spots.
No, it comes from the double lapping. It's right about here. I can't zoom in because I'm in preview and it's easier to navigate.
Right.
But this part right here, when you're overlapping white, since you have to, a lot of whites just aren't white enough. You have to do multiple layers. It's tough to gather the entirety of your previous line. So when you're doing white, it's for me, a lot of times I like to go overboard and then cut it back with black versus build up to a white line and then not have to go touch in with any blacks. It's kind of a push and pull. When you go over multiple coats of paint and you don't get the exact same area the entire time, there's going to be some coats of paint that start looking a little more see-through, a little more transparent, and then there's going to be those very opaque ones that you certainly got all the layers. That is something that very nitpicky, but for white, it really sticks out, especially on a black singlet. And that was something that I think probably Showstopper would be talking to. We're going to try to get him on next week, and we can clarify those. I don't think it was the mask. I think the mask was great. The front was really great, too, but you can kind of see... You can kind of see right here.
Point, though. This is great.
Yeah, you can kind of see it right here, where the black line will go, and then you have a gray line because either the black was there before or the white, and then the white. This white looks great, and then this white you can see where it's not as many layers, and that's tough. Honestly, it's tough. It's not a solution to it. It's just timing, push and pull. Whites are easier to knock back versus adding in, so that's something.
So you should overdo the white and then scale back.
Yeah, I mean, I like to overdo the white, make it a full coverage, and then go ahead. If I'm going for a really white figure, I'll make it all white, and then I'll add the black to knock it out. Like that's what's really frustrating about this Alistair right now. You guys, I won't show it up, but the gold and the black on the back of the trunks are something that you're trying to make a clean line out of. Gold's not as tough, but gold is pretty tough. It's not white or yellow, but man, you got to go with your bright colors first because they're easier to lay on, and then you can bring it back.
Good to know. All right, well, I gave solid 8s down the whole entire field here. I said, keep up the sculpt practice. You were doing great. Great sculpting with the skulls. The cape was a nice touch. Overall, great figure. He's just an amateur, and he needs a lot of practice, like everyone on our amateur side does, and practice makes perfect. So keep up the good work, and I really like those knee pads.
I like the knee pads. I really like the hairs in front of the mask, too. That's something that is really tough to do, and I think he really nailed it.
And very Mortis, too.
Yeah, very Mortis. I would like to see the staff done. That would be sweet to see the finished product. The material and the cape choice, I like to use for my flowy capes. I like to use a very more spandexy material or something with a little more stretch, so it has a little better flow. Which I think just going forward for all of our contestants, that is something that adds with the not only sewing of the material, but with the way it falls. Speaking of which, we should probably try to get Ring Bling on the show. That'd be pretty cool to talk about.
Absolutely. Just so you know, the fan vote, which is ever important in our contest here, was very close on both occasions. Elite took 32 votes. Lonely Bone Dust 41, so that's really close, but Lonely Bone Dust will be advancing to face in WF.
So what was your total for Lonely Bone Dust? Is all 8s across the board, so that was 40, right? 40?
Yep.
Okay, so Lonely Bone Dust is our official Season 1 Custom Underground Reaper Cup Amateur Champion. He will be getting the trophy. And he will be facing either at this point Elite or Rocket Jabroni or Dogcrack. And congratulations to Lonely Bone Dust. So we'll give a digital round of applause. I'll edit. No. And then we'll get on to the pros here. Let's go ahead and go with Showstopper first. Dogcrack with Showstopper scorecards here. He's got 8 as overall presentation, painting skill, likeness, originality, and complexity both at 10, and workmanship at 9 for a total of 45. And if you give me a second here, I can pull up exactly what he said about it. What he said about Dogcracks was a heavyweight effort, pun intended. Sculpt work was pro level. Tat work was given much care and attention, which they really were. Overall look...
he had a lot of tattoos, and he did a really nice job on those tattoos.
Absolutely, absolutely. Overall look of the finished custom appeared kind of rough and shiny. I think that was probably not only the pictures but the sealer. He did look pretty shiny. Head choice was great. I think it was the Jax Viscera head. If only it was modded better to sit lower on the neck, which I think we all agreed with. That's always tough to accomplish. Uh, we'll talk
Yeah, we
about that
talked
later.
about that on past shows to get the Jack's head just perfect on there. And I don't know, we talked about this privately in the green room, that there's not a lot I don't think he could have really done to lower it, but it
Yeah,
does
yeah.
good.
And then the head misplacement, head placement miss in parentheses, was my biggest issue on this entry. So that's what Showstopper had to say. I'll go over to mine here. Whoa. Dog Crack. Okay. So for me, Dog Crack got overall presentation 8, painting skills 9, likeness originality 9, complexity 9, and workmanship 9, for a total of 44 out of 50. Now, the notes on that I have kind of echo the tattoo work. I thought was really good for Viscera. You know, I would imagine him having like a lot of line work. A lot of darker skinned wrestlers can't get really bright colors and stuff. So that was really accurate. I like the head choice. I like the painting skills. The likeness and originality. It's a very original figure. He used the Kamala base. You can go follow him on Instagram. You see the whole sculpt work of what Pat said earlier is rolls, for lack of a better word. And then the difference of which between his waist and his upper chest, which are hanging out kind of out of his tights, were very, very realistic, very accurate towards the effect spandex has. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's really good. I agree.
that complexity, he remained fully articulated. So for that, the complexity was really high in being able to sculpt around that articulation. The workmanship, I really don't have a problem. I really wish that I had better pictures to do this custom justice, and that's what I was saying. I think the sealer, I think if it was a more matte, it would have really done it better. It's so tough to film or to photograph, and I know this from doing my Mac custom, and I will be doing Mac for Series 3 here. It's so tough to film or to properly record an African American wrestler. Even with my JTG, it's hard to do the figure justice unless you get the right light. That being said, I think a white background for this figure really would have benefited everything. Showing the picture in a black background really kind of lost a lot of detail and underplayed the work. I think it was a great figure. I really don't have anything bad to say about it, besides I think the head placement was also a bit high. It's tough to remedy that without torso cracking. And here's a little known secret, at least I don't know if everyone else has got to know this, but I stumbled upon
Ad Reaper exclusive. Listen up, listen up.
The head pegs, Mattel uses 2 different sizes of them. They're marginally different, maybe a centimeter or 2 different, but they are significantly enough in the grand scheme of head pegs, different sizes. And to me, a lot of whatever figure has them, it's kind of a crapshoot. But that being said, if you're looking at the pegs of them, you'll notice when some heads sit higher, some heads sit lower. I did a defining moment Sting. Sting was one of my favorite wrestlers, actually the wrestler to get me into wrestling way back in the day. And I hated that head choice on the defining moments figure. I loved the 97 basic figure with the longer hair, so I did a head swap. Upon my initial head swap, I realized that Sting head was sitting way too high. And I was like, well, why the hell is this Sting head sitting way too high on the Elite and not that high on the Basic? That being said, cracked them open. I didn't want to. I cracked them open and discovered that there was 2 different sized pegs. So what I had to do was switch out the pegs to go with the heads. And instantly, without any other modification, the head sat lower. The hair touched the shoulders.
Did you have to crack it and switch pegs, or could you shave down the peg a little bit?
See, I've tried shaving down the peg, and that actually does work. It's a lot more.
It's more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah, it's really too different. Too different of a size to. You have to cut down a lot, You really have to cut down a lot because the length of the peg is still really close. Or is only different. So as long as the head socket inside the head can sink into where you've cut off, you might be okay with it. That being said, if you get a Mad Reaper cast, which we've only got a couple left, you can drill as deep as you want. But yeah, I'll try to find you I'll try to find you example as soon as you're going through your score here. Let me check it out. Go ahead.
Well, I scored mine, surprisingly, exactly the same. 8 for overall presentation, 9 for painting skills, 9 for likeness originality, 9 for complexity, 9 for workmanship. My notes were pretty much exactly what the Showstopper and Mad Reaper had. The tats were amazing. Well done on the tats, which is really hard on a black person to get the darker tats to show up and pop. You did that nicely. Like we said, the head sits a little bit odd, but it's really hard to do a lot about that without a lot of modification, which we talked about. So those were my notes. Great job, Crack. 44.
So here I found
44.
44. Very nice score. Same score as myself. We graded these independently. Went through increasing effort to make sure this is unbiased, and both of us have the exact same score. So that's great minds think alike. Here we go. I got this. This was actually a head peg that I was using for Aleister Black. It snapped on me when I was trying to take off his head, and I was lazy and I didn't heat it up enough. Yes, these mistakes happen to me too. So this was the original one that was in my Bo Dallas, which is the torso. And you can see here that lined up on the bottom, the one on my right, be your left, this one, is marginally taller than the one on the left. It's very thin, but I tell you guys what, this makes a huge difference because the length of these necks are different.
Yeah, absolutely.
As far as I'm concerned, there's only 2 sizes, and you can really see it once it's sitting inside of the torso because one will have a little bit more of the rod part of it hanging out, and the other would have a little less, and the ball would sit lower into there. Trying to find a non-sexual way to describe that. Rod sounded best. So, yeah, so there you go. It's a little nugget if you're watching this, which you should. Or subscribe to us on iTunes. Give us a lot of ratings. That'd be cool. So, back to the last but not least, Rocky Jabroni. For Rocky Jabroni, I give him 48. This was an Owen Hart figure, and at first I really wasn't too hot on the head choice. I'll go through my score first. Overall presentation was a 10, painting skills 10, likeness originality 9, complexity 9, workmanship 10. Okay, so first of all, the painting skills on this. Rocky Jabroni is such a clean painter. Damn. You know, to quote Mark Simmons, damn.
Yeah.
What a great figure. The painting skill, the pink's such a hard color too. Just flawless, really. And then for me, the likeness, that's where it was tough. I don't know if a lot of you guys knew this. I mean, I know me and Pat did. I know Showstopper did. That was a Bret Hart head. And logically speaking, that makes a lot of sense. You don't ever see it done. Those two are brothers. It's not like they're twins, but they're brothers enough to see a little resemblance there. So at first, I really didn't know what to think. It's kind of an inside running joke before we even started this between me and Pat about like trying to find an Owen Hart head that doesn't look like a Muppet. And I was really hoping that Rocky
And no offense to anyone that's done one, but there really isn't a good Owen Hart head out there, in my opinion. No. And he and I are a little bit more picky about this because we both really like Owen Hart a lot. So
yeah, and I'm working on Owen Hart, and I'm really excited to get that head sculpted out. That being said, I'm not trying to put myself over here at all. The more I looked at Owen, the more I looked at Rocky Jabroni's, I really started to see it. The hair was great. The hair was there, which is something that a lot of people, take for granted. What was giving me the hardest part was a smirk. I see it in the eyes there, but I ended up going through my WWE network. Um,
Subscribe today.
which, yes, subscribe today because I was able to get my WrestleMania tickets yesterday, and they go on sale
Nice.
tomorrow.
I saw that. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm really excited. So I looked on them. They had an Owen Hart documentary, the Heart of Gold. It's like the first look of the home DVD release. So it's like the first 20 minutes of it, and they had a montage on there. And I was looking for my own, because I have what head I'm going to use. It requires being heavily modified, like all heads do for Owen. So I was looking at it, and I was trying to find, like what kind of Owen Hart looks at, and a little second, a couple of seconds of a camera, him looking at the screen, yelling at it, spoke to me, and I was like, holy shit, like that is Rocky Jabroni's head, and it's weird in that expression. It's a weird, goofy expression that you wouldn't make just for a picture, but in the act of talking, in the act of conversing, that was the expression that Owen had, and the head really came on to me.
That would make sense because brothers often have similar quirks,
Right,
so
right.
the way you smile would be perhaps one of them. So
That's the
that does
best way
kind
to
of make
say
sense.
it. It is very quirky of a expression. It's not one you would make in a in a head scan booth if you were doing it the old Jack State ways or whatever. It's something you would have just in an offbeat talking. That being said, the complexity. This figure is so hard to do because of the head choice. It's like it's one of the holy grails of finding what head works best for Owen Hart. I'm really excited. Workmanship. I noticed the sculpting on the knee pad, behind the knee pad, which is something I really like. It was a little touch where you could see, for me, I'll be honest, a lot of times I'll paint them because to me it's usually like a neoprene pad, but Rocket Jabroni really, he's such a master at sculpting and sanding, and that's something that I think is the next evolution for Lonely Bone Dust, to not only sculpt your final product, but to be able to sand it, and I think you'll see that with my Alistair head, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to reference my own work, but I'm just speaking from my own experience. A lot of other customizers.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Speak from experience of what you know and things.
And like a lot of customizers, when you're adding on for a head or something, you'll leave the clay there because even with water, with your fingers, you can only get it so close, but you can't get that transition seamless. And I went through, it was a pain in the ass, sanding, resanding, getting that to where you can't see the line. And I like to paint my figures a gray or a primer before this so I can see those, and sanding it and sanding it and sanding it. I got little file sticks, and where I get it, I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, but if you guys do, check it out. You see one of those pictures.
You don't start following him, Mad Reaper.
Yeah, you see one of the pictures, and I didn't really see it until the cast came out, and I molded it and cast just in case I make another one, which I probably won't. But that head looks like Alistair. It looks like an Alistair head scan, and I'm
That's one I've seen.
I'm thinking it's gonna look better than the one that comes out. Maybe I don't know, but for me, sanding is key. Rocky Jabroni did that. 48 out of 50. He's my winner for the pros. Should I go do showstoppers?
Yeah, why not?
Let's go up here for showstopper. 48 for Rocky Jabroni. 10s for overall presentation, painting skill, complexity, workmanship, and an 8 for likeness and originality. I know showstopper is most qualified out of me. I haven't done an Owen yet. He's done several, so he really knows the difficulty in those. His notes right here were another excellent entry. Anyone who can paint pink cleanly is a winner in my book, along with those who can paint yellow and white. Hand-painted logos were a nice touch to show skill. Was curious about the head would be used, but final choice didn't really appeal to me. Head choice was the only con for me. So that is what got, I guess, -2 points. So showstopper was still a great score. Pat?
Like we said, in my opinion, there is no good Owen Hart head currently out there. Soon to be available from Mad Reaper Studios. There will be a awesome Owen Hart head, I have no doubt.
Thank you.
So, but in all seriousness, I scored it just like Rocket Jabroni did. I gave him 10s on overall presentation, 10 on painting skills. He's quite amazing. 10 on complexity, workmanship, 8 on the head, which is likeness, because I just couldn't get past that smirk, and
8 is still high. I mean, I don't
yeah,
even think
8
you
is
need to
absolutely
explain
high.
it. 8 is a great likeness. It's just not spot on, and that is yeah,
And
what a
really
great
quick,
score.
the fans gave Dogcrack 36 votes and Rocket Jabroni 43 votes. So
Very
Rocket,
close. Very
very
close.
close. Rock won it, and he will be receiving the Reaper Cup Professional.
So that leads us to the next point. I will stop
That
sharing my
is
screen.
Rocket Jabroni versus the NWF versus Lonely Bone Dust.
Yes, this is something that, man,
amazing.
yeah, what a talented matchup. I can't wait for it. Lonely Bone Dust is the king of the amateurs, stepped up and really found himself amongst pros. And for next season, Lonely Bone Dust won't be an amateur anymore. To see the progression from his first figure to his next, speaking like on the same lines of Ian, what an amazing progression. All of our customizers, I feel like just up the level. So Rocket Jabroni is going to be taking on Lonely Bone Dust, the king of the pros versus the king of the
Versus
amateurs.
NWF.
Versus our dark horse, the NWF, and wow, it's gonna be an amazing tournament. Pat.
Yes, and with that, we will announce the theme.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, I don't know.
And after this long, dramatic pause, we have come to the conclusion that each contestant, Rocket Jabroni, NWF, Lonely Bone Dust, will submit one choice to us, and we will random generate them, and they will be then chosen. So you might get your own, you might get someone else's. Be nice, be cruel. Either way, it's going to be a great time.
Yep, yeah. So this is gonna work like one of those like the game shows, like where you go ahead and it's completely randomized which one you pick, and that's who you get. So you might end up getting your own wrestler, you might not. That being said, either you want to give yourself a freebie or give yourself a hardball. Hopefully here, we've been thinking really hard about what kind of wrestlers we'd like to see. We've seen a lot of wrestlers. It's so tough to figure out what will be the toughest one for like the creme de la creme of our Mad Reaper Cup. It's so tough, figuring out who.
For $300.
$300. We think it's only fair for you guys to throw a name in the hat. And we will draw that. We'll draw that this weekend. We'll get at you tonight. Pat will get to you guys tonight. We'll ask for choices, and from that we will pick. The computer will pick who you will be doing. So that is the next round. That round will be due. The finale is December 10th, 11:59 p.m. That is when all deadlines are done, and we will have our last show, at least with the live element. We'll probably have, we'll try to time it so that Showstopper is available. We might have the finale or the judging a little later, and we'll try to have it so that all of us, as many of us, can hang out as possible via Instagram or something. We'll do a live thing.
Also, future guests we're looking into. We're hoping to have Showstopper next week. We're also getting Lonely Bone Dust and Dogcrack on the show, so look forward to future episodes. Thank you, as always, for tuning in each and every week. Thank you. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. Thank you to everyone who's competed in the tournament. Without you, it wouldn't be as exciting as it is. You've all done amazing jobs. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, let's actually, if we could get the 3 finalists on before the end of it would be awesome. So, Pat said thank you guys. I think we'll cut it there, huh?
I am the real chosen one. This is the Mad Reaper. Thank you and good night.
Custom Underground.